and gentlemen, as Carol told you earlier, ladies and gentlemen, as Carol told you earlier, our guest speaker, Congressman Hardin, is going to have to catch a flight to Reno and leave me very shortly. So we did give him a chance to eat, and he will be addressing our group now. I'm not very good at introducing people, as you very well know, because I've known him for a long time, and I'm very partial to him. So all I can tell you is our guest speaker, Congressman Crescent Hardin.
Thank you. It's a privilege to be here. Thank you for the invite. Wish I could do more of this more often. I apologize that I'm actually in D.C. for the last year, most of it, doing the people's work, fighting against people like Bernie Sanders and people like Obama that continue to try to grow our government, that continue to try to spend us into oblivion, is what I like to say. So to start out with, though, I would like to thank the Republican women for what you do, what you continue to do to help support the Republican Party. I'm going to say something I believe is very important. You worked hard for many years, all of you. Continue to do your job. You know, this presidency that's coming up, I believe before Justice Scalia passed away, was the most important election. It has now just become even greater of importance. I believe that now it's time, we like to use a phrase, in my faith that I live in, is to lengthen your stride. We need to lengthen our stride here. We need more commitment, even though you think you're giving all you can. We need to work hard to make sure the people that you're backing get in those legislative spots that will help strengthen this nation. I do believe this is the last best time for us to turn this country around, because the next president will probably get 3 or 4 other justice appointments besides this one. You know, we've been hanging in the balance for years with the Supreme Court. Losing Justice Scalia is one of those issues where here we had an individual that actually believed in the Constitution, believed in the intent of our founding fathers, believed that it was not a living, breathing document, believed that this was a Constitution that was set for the ages, and this is how we keep people and countries together, to keep us self-reliant, self-sufficient, independent, not reliant upon government to do everything for you. Believed that those enumerated powers meant something, and all others were left to the states. But others on the other side would have you believe that this is a living, breathing document, that you can do anything you want with it. I believe that we've got great amendments, and they're the right thing to do at the time, but they're amendments to the Constitution. And some of them can be replaced if they have to be based on the time. But the document itself says so much. So I do believe that you need to really focus on our efforts here, especially in Clark County. And so I think it's important you show up to caucus. You know, we've got presidential candidates out there, and every one of them is better than the alternative on the other side. So whoever it is, we need to show up and support them. We cannot have another 2012. Can't afford it, in my opinion. With that being said, I'll talk about the positive things. You know, you've had a Congress that has been in the majority now for the Republicans for 1.5 years. Just about 1.5 years, I guess is how you say it, in the real English, not my hillbilly. But the House has been in control for about 6 years, almost 7 years. And I've been had the opportunity and have the privilege to understand that we can actually do things in the House. We can run them through the House. We run them through pretty quick. We've done some amazing things, passed some great legislation to help strengthen jobs in the economy. We've done some things to repair Medicare for the long term. but we can't seem to get them through the other house. And we blame that on to Mitch McConnell, and we blame it on to the Senate as a whole, because Republicans have had charge of it. Why can't they get it done? I want you to keep in mind one thing. Harry Reid still runs that Senate. Harry Reid filibusters everything out there. It takes 60 votes. They have different rules than we have on the House side. And there was an intention by our founding fathers to set it up the way they did. Our founding fathers didn't want lots and lots of laws and lots of legislation. They wanted the process to go slow and deliberate. I don't think they ever thought there'd be a guy like Harry Reid in the Senate and being in charge, even when he's on the minority. We have 54 senators, Republican senators, but it takes 60 to even bring any legislation to the floor to open it up for discussion. They filibuster it, and it just gets stuck where it's stuck. So you can be upset with Republicans, you can be upset with the process, but it takes what happened in 2008. We need to have control of all three houses. Now, with that being said, if we don't do our job in 2016 or 17 when it comes into place, if we don't make some radical changes like they did with Obamacare, then shame on us. But I know that being part of it, I've said it before, I used to just get upset with Dean Heller and Mark Amity and Joe Heck. And I used to tease them all the time about, you guys are just, basically I'll say it how I said it, you bastards are just sitting back there with your feet on the table smoking a cigar. That's why you don't get anything done. I've been there now. I'm a working class folk, and I'm grateful for you people to help me get elected and give me this opportunity and privilege. But we do work. There are people back there that really spend their lives effort trying to make a difference. Now, you do have politicians back there that look at this as a career, and shame on those people that continue to elect those people. And so there needs to be changes in certain offices. That's why you have primary elections. The people are really trying to do things back there. Most of them are misguided. I think they do know more than you because they haven't come from the real world. I've had the privilege of working for a living for 40 years in the construction industry. Working alongside people and actually signing what I call all three sides of a paycheck. Two of you understand, but that third one is when you go into debt, that's a big check. And as a business person, I understand what it takes to run a business. I'm going to pick on Jim Marsh over here for a little bit. He's been a successful businessman for years. And his books probably look pretty good. He looks pretty wealthy on paper. And I will bet you that he couldn't come up with 10 cents on an instant unless he was carrying it right with him, because in business, as you understand, business people have to put a lot out there, and because the bank says or somebody says that your books look good and you're worth this much on paper, when things go bad, you're only worth what you can get out of it. I know that from being at one time a major company, that when things go bad and things change, you can't get a loan, you can't keep that small business moving, and that's where we're at today, folks. I think if we don't get to make some major decisions that help us turn this economy around, because Republicans understand back there, we can talk about expanding our military again, but it takes dollars. It takes an economy of dollars to be able to pay for that. We can't continue to just spend our way out of debt. As you know, we're over 19 trillion now, and there's a number of reasons that's caused that. But those can all change. I believe that the people are waking up, hence the frustration you see out there with people. But we also need to make sure when we select a presidential candidate that it's somebody that you feel very confident with, that they can govern all aspects of a government. The military side, the economic side, the social sides, dealing with the foreign governments, make sure that they don't start the next war, but know how to stop it first the best way. But when it's time to act, we need to act and not pussyfoot around, so to speak. We need to stand behind our legislators when it's time and let them know when they're wrong. And I love these kind of things because I like to hear from people. I like to hear your comments. So I'll stop babbling and let you have some questions first. So thank you for the opportunity to be here again, and thank you for all you do. Can't say enough about the Republican women, because this nation wouldn't be anything without you, much like our men and women in the service. I appreciate all you do. So thank you. So, questions? Anybody have a question? Don't be shy now.
So where do you stand about Supreme Court nominee? Where do you stand?
Okay, where do I stand with the Supreme Court and what is going to happen? The president has an obligation, and his duties are to nominate somebody. Now, the Senate has an obligation to approve or disapprove. I think that it's appropriate for the Senate to go through this process. I don't think there'll be any doubt that they will disapprove whoever Barack Obama puts out in front of them and do that up or down vote. I think they need to be strategic about it, because, as you know, there's over 20 days between December, when there is no Senate and we start a new session, and the next session the president still has that opportunity to maybe, because Senate's in recess, which I don't believe it is, but do we want to go through that court process with 4 and 4 in that process? So I think they have to do it strategically, where they vote him down in a certain time, to where it leaves him minimal time to bring up another candidate, so to speak. That's my thought process, and I'm not a legal mind. But I think we're always supposed to follow what our founding fathers set forth. Yeah, we can drag it out and never bring his name up, but I think it's better that we keep control of the Senate, because if we act like we're not, we need to act how we talk. If we're constitutional conservatives, then let's follow the Constitution. I believe that's the direction, even though sometimes it's painful to watch, but that's where I stand on it. How did they get away with it? Great question. I can tell you how they got to get away with it. Constitutionally, the Congress gave up its authority back in 1937 with the New Deal. Everybody loved FDR. That man did as much to screw this nation up as anybody's ever done, let alone Woodrow Wilson. That's my opinion. Here's what happened. 1937, the Congress decided that, you know, it wanted to legislate more. It wanted to get more rules and laws through. Prior to that, our Congress had to not only legislate laws, but they had to define those laws. They had to have the interpretation, the intent of a law before that time. And then we started turning it over to administrations. And that went along good for 30, 40 years. It's not just Democratic presidents, it's been Republican presidents also. And so about the time that Kennedy come into office, you watched an escalation of regulatory work started coming out of these administrations. And it changes based on the administration, but we never get rid of it. Last year alone, through the regulatory side of administrations, we had 82,035 pages come out of out of this administration in 1 year. 82,035 pages. Now, what business, any business here, can afford to pay somebody to read, or some buddies to read 350 pages a day, work day in a year? That's how much was coming out. What were you doing on Christmas Eve? I know what I was doing. You know what the regulators are doing? 496 pages on New Year's Eve, on Christmas Eve. What were you doing on New Year's Eve? What I was doing, but the regulators pumped out 290-something pages on New Year's Eve. So like I said, this administration with regulations is averaging about 80,000 pages a year. That's not regulations, that's just the intent of the regulation. You have to read it, you have to understand it. Many businesses don't even know they're violating the law. Many businesses have been hit by laws they didn't know they were violating right here in our own community. Here's one of the regulations that come out of the EPA side, mineral sides, BLM side, all about obtaining revenues. Many of you don't understand, but many of you do. This state is 81% to 87%. Nobody can really tell you. You can't get them to tell you exactly what it is held by the federal government. So those minerals, when they do a release on property, or in this Las Vegas Valley, so they call it disposal lands. That goes, the funds go into SNPLMA, which goes for weird things to buy more BLM property. But when they sell that property, they sell the property without releasing the mineral rights, because they don't want you to go in and put gravel pit and some, and that's great. But that should be a zoning issue. That should be a federal government issue. So what are they doing now? They're coming down on the homeowners in this valley. If they go grade a lot, they buy, say, we'll say they buy 200 acres at $300,000 an acre in this valley, and it's gone as high as $700,000 an acre, and you wonder why we don't have a lot of entry-level homes. Think about that. But this rule that they come out with is now, if they move the dirt from one lot to go fill another one, that's materials. So they're charging you a material fee for the home developers just to move that dirt. So that just, guess where that goes? That goes down to the property owner. Those kind of regulations are hit. These developers are out here beginning to start again. They're finding out, hell, we didn't know it was violating. We've been doing it different than that for years. So they want to go back and see if they can hit you for your home. If you go dig a swimming pool and remove that dirt and just get rid of it somewhere, they're going to charge you for that dirt in that swimming hole on top of it. So those are the kind of idiotic things that I think really frustrate me. There's so many more. But the EPA of Waters of the U.S., I happen to be on that committee, had the privilege of being there. And we passed some good major rules. This president vetoed it, by the way, and it had bipartisan support to get through both houses. But those are going to be challenges. Some of the things we have to do is get rid of this president so we can get control of that administration. I'm working on an issue right now that has to do with trying to ask every presidential candidate, will you make sure that you uphold the Constitution and maybe release your so-called power that you've taken on for the last 75 plus years back to the Congress to do their job. And I think that's what has to happen. If that president doesn't sign it, or one of those candidates don't sign it, I hope somebody won't vote for him. So hopefully I can get that taken care of in the next 2 or 3 weeks so we can get that out in front of them. But so many EPA things are destroying us. We're grateful for the Supreme Court and their ruling that just come down that they can't do this fuel tax on coal, or the forget what it is, but talk about it. So it'll kill us with energy sources, so to speak. So anyway, there's a lot of things going on. I can't be an expert in all of them. I must tell you that I'm real proud to say that I've had the opportunity to accomplish some things this my first freshman year as a congressman. We've got the I-11 North, the corridor. I'm on transportation and infrastructure. I happen to be the vice chairman on highway and transit, which is a real privilege. The chairman actually told me, he says, when I asked him, I said, am I taking somebody else's spot here? Is somebody be mad? He says, Crescent, I don't know of anybody on the Hill that has more expertise in transportation than you do. That's pretty cool to know. So I've been on that committee, happened to be able to get that portion of I-11 North, along with the I-11 coming from Phoenix up. We got full funding for that portion. Now the state can start working on things to the north to I-80. One of the other issues that happened that most people don't know, and it's not even in my district, but the Tahoe funding for treatment. Tahoe is one of the areas where we need to make sure that we preserve that pristine look that it's had for years. And with the fires and some of the other things that happened, we need to make sure we put in proper treatments to where that ash and whatever can't get to the lake, that stormwater doesn't contaminate the lake. It stays clear and beautiful like it has for hundreds of years. And so that was part of the transportation bill. And it was me that they said solely that got it done, because you can't get what do you call it, earmarks in Congress. Senator Heller had sent it over from his side, and it was kicked completely out. It was not going to be heard, and being a member of the conference committee, one of 14 people that got selected out of Congress, that was a privilege also. So it helped get that on, only because of my loud mouth that I can be from time to time. So that's kind of cool. So, any other questions? Yes.
President, could you talk about a little bit about the thing that's going to happen up at Apex? Is it the dry dock thing, or the? Yeah, you know what I mean.
Well, Faraday's is one issue, but this has kind of been an idea that I've had for years.
Oh, okay.
And actually, Marilyn Kirkpatrick and I have talked about it the whole time we've been in legislature together when I was in the state legislature. I had actually talked to Oscar Goodman back when he was freshman mayor. It never really went anywhere. But now, because of traffic issues, I think people are starting to see the vision. And think of it this way. We have all these trucks that come out of California. All that product has to come from Long Beach or some of the other shipping yards down there in California. So we've got thousands and thousands of trucks every day going through the Las Vegas Valley. And I know that a lot of truckers do not even want to go into California. They hate it. It's a pain. It slows them down. They have to wait there in Long Beach sometime for hours just to get the longshoremen to literally load their trucks or unload their trucks. To give you one example, it was a real story. The guy sat there for 6 hours to get loaded. The truck with the forklift pulled up to load these big containers on there. 5 o'clock hit. Said we're done. Left the trucker sitting there, and the thing actually on the forklift and left. That's how bad it is. But California's going to destroy itself. And with what's going on in the Panama Canal, people will just go around and go to Texas now and bring it that direction. And so they're going to find their own demise if they don't change their ways, so to speak. But this inland port, if we could have that come by rail and deliver it to the north side of Las Vegas, out there in that Apex area somewhere, where trucks could actually pick it up there, and it'd look like a regular, a shore where you could pick it up with cranes and load it from one train onto a truck and keep it moving. It'd be probably faster, probably more efficient, and what it would do for the traffic. About 5 cars can fit in the space of a truck, little over the speed that sometimes they affect. If you took thousands of trucks a day off the road, think about the thousands of extra cars that we could put on the road for our economy for tourism. Anybody that's ever driven to California on a holiday or a weekend understand that situation. You can be on the highway for sometimes up to 11 hours. So that's what this port would do. But it's just a discussion. I've talked to the railroad folks. They're going to come out and actually take a look at it and see if it's viable. And they'll let us know whether it's something. Then if it becomes a viable thing, product, then we get to legislate on whether we can bring folks out here to do the inspection, the port inspectors here for that.
I think it'd be great for your campaign message to talk about that.
Well, I don't remember a lot.
I think it's cool.
Thank you. Anything else?
I just want to say thank you for signing on and co-sponsor a very fantastic R25. You have become the first one to put in the matter to do that, and for the Canadian bill, and you're talking about going back in the direction of the Constitution, and one sure way to do it, probably one of the best tax measures in the state, and people don't know this, have more congressional sponsorship than any other proposed tax reform or republic measure in the day. And I just want to thank you. I think that bill is coming out to Representative Rob Woodall, and that's going to make sure.
Thank you. Rob Woodall is the guy that's packed the bill, and I think it's a right direction. I know there'll be some changes and some tweaks, but I think it's the direction we need to go. Back again, though, if we want to have real tax reform, we got to have a president that will support us, and we got to keep control of both houses. So, as painful as that is, maybe to re-elect a guy like me, it's time to think about, do you want the alternative to the Democrat? So, I've got to head out, so thank you for the opportunity to be here. Appreciate the opportunity to speak to you. One last thing I'd like to say before I do run off. Mark Avity has told me so many times that he says I need to find some sense of humor because I'm too serious about stuff. I apologize for that, but I don't have a sense of humor. So.
Oh, yes, he does. I know it. He does. And Harry thinks you do, too. There you go. Let's give him a nice send-off. Thank him for coming. Thank you, Congressman. Thank you, Congressman Warren. Right now, okay. Are you ready? Okay. Ken would like to say a few words. He works in Congressman Hardy's office, so we'll give him first up. We have lots of guests today that need to speak, so while you're having your lunch, we will have them come up there one at a time.
Thank you, Carol. So Congressman Hardy, we're hosting a number of events throughout the course of this year, and a lot of them range from things from educational perspective, giving you chances to learn about different topics, different things that we're doing. We were hosting educational things on business, healthcare, veterans issues, things of that sort. So I was going to go over a couple of them. We actually have 3 town halls that we're hosting over the next 3 weeks. The first one will actually be held tomorrow, and it's going to be held at the North Las Vegas City Hall, beginning at 6:30 p.m. It will be on veterans issues. We're going to have Congressman Hardy speaking. He's going to be answering any questions dealing with veteran affairs issues, and we also will have representatives from the VA, from their health care program, things of the sort. So if you have any kind of issues with your veterans care, or if you have a neighbor, friend, anyone who needs to discuss anything that's dealing with veterans, please come out. And I have some flyers here. So if you would, come see me after it's over, and I will give you more information on that. The next 2 is we will have 2 senior town halls that will be held on March 8th and March 9th. The March 8th town hall is going to be held in Sun City, Summerlin at the Desert Vista Community Center from 10 a.m. until noon, and it will be Congressman Hardy answering questions dealing with senior issues, and we'll have representatives from the Social Security Administration, from Medicare, SHIP, and from other senior advocate groups there to help you with any kind of issues that you may have with your your senior benefits. And so if you're interested and are able to attend that one, we would be glad to have you there. And also in the same measure, we will have another seniors town hall in Aliante, which is up in, of course, the very northern part of Las Vegas, and with the same information pertaining to dealing with senior issues, anything that you need on with your senior benefits. Please come out and attend these events. Can I get a quick raise of hands? Anyone live in the 4th Congressional District? Great. So anyone here that was able to attend, please take a few of these flyers, hand them out to your neighbors, and we would like to see you there. Thank you.
I want to let everyone know that 2 years ago when Congressman Hardy ran for the first time, I do not live in Congressional District 4. I am one of the cursed ones that lives in 1 with demonitis, the witch. She comes and visits with a broom. So, at any rate, I did work really very hard for Crescent Hardy. So does my friend Uli, we walk for him every day. Barbara walks.